This episode of The Casual is brought to you in part by Squarespace. For all your website needs, Squarespace delivers it in an all-around package to help you build a beautiful, integrated online presence.
So normally I don't get a chance to talk about myself in this space, but today is a bit different for some odd reason. Filler episode. But it does present us with an opportunity to learn about the experience of learning the fashion industry in Japan through someone who has lived here and done it, myself. So with that being said, this is why I specifically chose to study fashion in Japan, and more specifically over America, that is the United States, where I'm from. So let's get it. All right, so we begin with this. The study of fashion in Japan is serious. There really isn't any other way to describe it. What I mean is that fashion isn't fluffed up by a massive media machine that only gives you the most popular trends like in the US. Is exactly what you'd expect to hear, but that's absolutely not true, as the fashion industry in Japan isn't some honorable thing that outclasses everywhere else due to their honor. No, companies can be just as egregious with trends here, trust me. However, cultural cues do give many Japanese a decided edge, but that edge is no more advantageous than the average US American that has access to the latest, well, everything, especially when it comes to fashion. So yes, the unfortunate reality is that fashion is massively regulated by the powers that be in Japan. However, the powers that be do a much better job of providing the populace with a vast array of options. And that's what I mean by serious. Take for instance the concept of the select shop. Much like a boutique, the Japanese select shop offers several different brands alongside their own, like in the case of Beams or United Arrows. But unlike a boutique that may offer a range of different styles, each select shop in Japan has its own aesthetic, theme, concentration, or style. And upon witnessing them for the first time, for me, they were so hyper-focused that it made me question my upbringing as a student of fashion in the United States. At the center of it all was simply, what do you want to do? How far do you want to take it? And how serious are you in taking it that far? That to me was not only fascinating, but a straight up challenge. So the comparison was clear. Studying and observing fashion in the US was often a race to what's next, while in Japan it was more about what's already there and exploring that deeply. And I appreciated the speed, the care, the conscious effort to consider all the parts of something or some lifestyle before moving on, to squeeze every last droplet of juice from the fruit, if you will. And in a city like Tokyo, where everything moves a kilometer/mile a second, it's refreshing to see that type of mindset when pursuing an interest. That idea that you don't have to rush, you don't have to just finish it. It's your lifestyle, you chose it. And I know, it's easy as a Western kid to be fascinated with Japanese culture. Hell, Japanese pop culture especially. I truly get that. There's cartoons shooting fireballs all over the damn place, robots flying in space with laser swords, the occasional NSFW, no, I wasn't watching that, my friend sent me the link, playing a joke on me moment. For one, that was a lie. And two, for the less initiated, Japanese pop culture specifically is like a 14 to 17-year-old male's wet dream. Maybe even female, and perhaps even older. And sure, I indulged in that for some time. Not everything, but some of those things. But what really got me in the fashion space was the effortlessness.
A big part of fashion is community, and building a fashion brand or any business requires a strong one. That's why using Squarespace for your new website might be the way to go. Besides being packed with great website templates, built-in SEO and analytics, Squarespace's new members areas make it easy to create, foster, and grow a community of true fans. Give back by giving members exclusive content, discounts, and much more, all while monetizing your business. So use our code squarespace.com/thecasual to save 10% off your first website, and let Squarespace help you build your brand, business, and community.
If there's another word that I could use to describe Japanese fashion and style, it would be effortless. Effortlessness, one of those two. In design, admittedly, it can get complicated. Just look at the work of Jun Takahashi, Kei Ninomiya, Takehiro Miyashita, Mihari Yasuhiro. Japanese design can get incredibly meticulous is the point. But the comfort at which it's pulled off is downright insane. To put it in perspective, My job before moving back to Japan was as a branding consultant, mostly for fashion, but other industries as well. In fact, I still do that quite a bit. You can have the whole gamut of that on Patreon if you want to join. I could teach you how to do all that stuff, if that's what you want. Shameless plug, it goes into the next point effortlessly. See what I did right there? Never in my years of consulting have I seen so many young and ambitious people within the fashion industry that went the extra mile than when I came to Japan. There was no half-ass. The consistency of good takes in both technical, ready to wear, to even street were far too many to count. Dare I say that the only reason that the Japanese aren't getting the big Western jobs like creative director of such and such brand like Supreme or Givenchy or something like that is because of language barrier. And to someone like me, at first, I thought it was quite amazing, but after years of being here, it's just how they roll. The Japanese effortlessly put in effort consistently. It's a situation where many Japanese, are so skilled, have such great sense, and a culture that basically challenges them to become an expert at something that it figuratively breeds semi-pros in fashion and style at incalculable rates, and notably at much younger ages, to the point where everything that I've shown you on this channel for years, but also quite recently during those tours, is just a microcosm of the totality. That's what I mean when I spout things like Japanese fashion is underrated. It's not because it's, oh my God, it's so good, it's better than everything else, or that people just gas it up too much and you don't really realize. It's that what you've likely seen or what you've been exposed to is quite literally a very small percentage of the actuality. It's like Capital, right? And how gassed it is right now out west. Capital is great and all, but it's a footnote here in Japan. Not joking. Dive into the well deeper and you get so much more. And maybe that more isn't as dynamic as Capital, but the effort is the same. The details are just as serious and just as important. Again, I had never before witnessed it at such a consistency while living in the United States. Did it exist? Sure, but certainly not at the same rate. And unfortunately, being mired in celebrity worship has left the US in particular in a bit of a creative rut as brands try their damnedest to get famous people in their wares. Japan really doesn't have that problem, at least not to that scale. And just to be clear, I don't care if that's what you do, if you follow celebs and you like that. I mean, I learned a long time ago that arguing about the merits of why you wear something will quickly go into the, in my opinion, flawed logic of I don't need to know the history of the stuff that I'm wearing, I just like it. Into that rabbit hole that I just said it's not worth debating. But I have to say, it was refreshing to see many young Japanese in particular genuinely interested in that very history that many Americans in the same age and class group often scoff at. I became enamored with that. I wanted to at least adopt some of that mentality, devoid of being driven by trends, but by interests. And for that entire process, that learning process to become effortless. It's part of the reason the channel is called The Casual, inspired by the Japanese who have taken serious strides in fashion and style and made it casual, made it effortless. There's a reason why Tokyo is often considered by many the street fashion capital of the world, because they can take the most fantastic and make it effortless and wearable on the street. So to put it in perspective in terms of fashion, in the States, I hit a wall trying to keep up. In Japan, I was the one building the walls, or the walls were already built, but the ladders were provided, as trusting in what I had learned from my experiences, or perhaps more importantly, the graciousness of many Japanese who explained it to me, who helped me up the ladder. And I couldn't be happier with the results and that effort to help me understand. So if you plan at all to study fashion in Japan, expect that. Expect that not everything will move as quickly as you want, that a study of culture goes hand in hand with the lifestyles that many Japanese choose to partake in. And there's so many doing it, so you have a lot of resources. In any case, if you want to hear more personal takes about my story and anything, or at least what I can say on YouTube, ask them in the comments, and maybe, just maybe, I'll choose it for another topic. Follow us on Patreon to get extra content. We have a private Discord on there. We have a series called Class where you can learn how to make a brand. We have, all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. Talk to you guys, whatever it is. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international fashion, culture, and business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I will see you guys in a minute.